Turbulent Timeways are back. Massive XP gearing, catch-ups, and much more before midnight. That's right, Turbulent Timeways are back. This is the final iteration of Turbulent Timeways in the War Within expansion. We're getting Shadowlands back, everything else, some really cool items. So let's just dive straight in here and figure out some of the stuff that's going on with this final version of Turbulent Timeways.
Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dal. Patch 11.27 is finally officially here. And with this patch, we also got a bunch of catch-up events available ahead of midnight, with Turbulent Timeways making yet another return. I believe this is the 4th Turbulent Timeways they've done so far. But like all the other previous
And this video is from Dalaran Gaming, almost forgot to say.
Turbulent Timeways events, this is one of the best catch-up opportunities for everybody that's not currently playing in Legion Remix. Whether you're trying to get some more XP to level up a bunch of characters ahead of midnight, or you're trying to get those characters geared out with some of the easiest ways to get gear, as you can get hero track items weekly just for running a couple of time walking instances.
This is a really good way to take your Legion Remix character right now, take him and gear him out. Right, to take him and gear him out, so that way you can get all that heroic gear as quick as possible before midnight kicks off.
Speaking of time walking,
even though technically, does gear really matter in the beginning of expansion? Not really. Not really. I mean, most likely this shit's gonna get deleted in like the first heroic dungeon you run in midnight.
We also got brand new rewards this time around, both from the Turbulent Timeway rewards with up to 4 mounts that you can collect, but also
I gotta
bunch
go buy
of rewards
that
from a brand new expansion,
Corsair
which
mount.
is the time walking roster, being Shadowlands, which is super unusual for me because it feels like we were playing Shadowlands just yesterday. So it is kind of wild that we're already here. So with that being said, I did want to go over everything that there is to obtain during Turbulent Timeways, how you can take advantage of the massive XP buff, gearing buff, and how you can collect a bunch of rewards and everything you need to know for this event. As always, if you guys want to keep up with all the regular WoW updates, be it for War Within, Legion Remix, which got an update next week, or Midnight Beta, which has got an update this week specifically, be sure to follow the channel and subscribe. But otherwise, let's dive right in.
Cue long pause. Yeah, I know these
Turbulent
videos.
Timeways is definitely one of the best catch-up events, whether you're trying to level a brand new character or catch up on gear. When it comes to leveling, if you are not already diving into and are knee-deep in Legion Remix, but you're still looking to get a character, maybe a couple of vaults ahead of midnight, then this event will be fantastic for you, as it comes with a notable experience buff. The actual buff itself is actually a small stacking buff at first, which grants you 5% more experience gain.
Wait a minute, does that stack with the anniversary buff? Because right now the anniversary buff is 10% flat, and then if you do the anniversary quest, it's another 10% on top of that. I wonder if it does. I mean, I see it up here. He's got the anniversary buff active, plus the time running one. Shit, that's going to be a massive buff.
Per dungeon that you dive into.
It did last time,
from completing dungeons, but every single time you complete a dungeon, it stacks up from 5%, 10%, 15 to 20. However, once it hits 4 stacks, it actually transforms into a new buff called Mastery of the Timeways, which grants you not a 5% EXP buff stacking, but a 30% instead. And it lasts for 3 hours and refreshes anytime you do a time walking dungeon. So just to refresh it all the way back up to 3 hours, just queue for a quick dungeon, complete it, and you're good to go. As long as it's a time walking dungeon, then you should be able to get this buff during Turbulent Timeways.
Nice.
And Blizzard did end up also nerfing the amount of experience you need from level 70 to 80. So that final push, especially through War.
80% reduction from 70 to 80. So, I mean, this is going to be like literally, you're just going to fly through this shit.
Or within, if you're just doing it through open world
it's almost like Remix went live.
Just time walking dungeons, which are generally really good for EXP gain. This actually may be one of the best events for you to dive into, especially if you're looking to crack out a couple of max level characters way before midnight. What's also to note here is the buff itself, at least in the past, used to stack up with every other XP buff that was available. So unless something changed, this means that during Turbulent Timeways, especially if you level right now, then you can get an absolutely giant
this is cracked,
EXP buff during this limited window.
What the hell?
Especially during Turbulent Timeways.
This is probably the most cracked version of Turbulent Timeways we've ever gotten. Damn. I mean, you're talking the XP buff from Anniversary, the XP buff from the Turbulent Timeways event, plus the XP reduction that Blizzard just implemented. You're going to get, if you're level 70, I mean, you're going to be 80 in one play session.
Ways Technically not as big as what you can get in Legion Remix. However, that does require a character that you've been playing for multiple weeks now and have been stacking up this EXP buff basically infinitely. So this is actually the best way for you to be able to get additional XP and a bunch of characters leveled up to max level ridiculously quickly without needing a huge time investment that Legion Remix would require. Not only do you get the 30%
And don't
bonus
forget the
from
Warband
Master
XP
of Timeways,
buff.
but also you get a flat 25% bonus or up to 25 Warband bonus depending on how many max level characters you have. Essentially, the more max level characters you have, the more they become quote-unquote mentors for all of your other alts, which can increase the EXP buff for any new characters by up to 25%, which is pretty massive. You also get the anniversary buff, which is still constantly passively active, with the WoW anniversary offering a 10% buff for EXP and reputation, but you can actually increase it by 10 additional percent with the blessing of the Bronze Dragonflight, but go into like the main grounds area where the event is being held, outside of Tendera specifically, the celebration grounds, and doing the quest there, which is available every single day, which basically if you run around and complete a couple of quests or interact with any of the mini games in the celebratory anniversary grounds, then you'll be able to fill up a bar.
Yeah, it's real easy to get.
10% additional bonus. So altogether, that's quite a lot of buffs being stacked up. On top of it, there's actually 2 other bonuses that you can combine together if you have them already picked up ahead of time, like the Drought of 10 Lands, which is a fairly commonly used Battle for Azeroth EXP potion that you would obtain from any of the Warfront Quartermasters, which are usually found in the docks of Zuldazar or Baralis, and they'll require a Warfront currency, which you can obtain by either doing Warfronts.
Didn't Blizzard recently make the Warfront currencies Warband bound too? So like even if you were playing a new tune right now, but you played something else through BFA, you can now use that currency Warband? I'm pretty sure they did. That was not too long ago. So, oh my god, you could easily go buy this then if you played BFA.
Or by completing some of the world quests in the Warfront zones, being Darkshore and Arathi, if the portal is available. This does require for you to unlock BFA as an intro area and do the intro quest in order to be able to unlock it. But if you do already have it unlocked, like if you played BFA, those potions do stack up as well.
That's crazy.
You won't be able to continue drinking the potions after level 49, however. So you'll just want to make sure to refresh the potion before you hit level 49. But until then, the potion is going to be available and fairly decent buff for any low-level characters. Also, if you played during the Mysterious Wisdom buff, which has come and gone in War Within, and actually was supposed to return for this update specifically, but then they kind of rolled it back last second. Maybe it'll make a comeback right last month that
I think the reason why they got rid of Winds of Mysterious Fortune was all this other shit already. Like there's so much XP stacking right now. If they had Winds of Mysterious Fortune live too, you'd hit level cap in 1 hour. It'd be crazy. I think literally they dropped it because they were like, we already got too much XP buffs going on at the same time.
Night is approaching, maybe it'll return, but if you have a couple of potions like these saved up from that is also 10% additional experience for any characters that are not max level just yet. And if you're really looking to min-maxi bonuses, you also have the War Mode bonus, which does put you in a PvP instance out in the open world, but it does grant you 10% additional experience from quests as well as enemy that you slay. So if you are looking to quest in some of the safer areas, as an alliance character all around Stormwind, those are generally safe. As a horde character all around Orgrimmar or Undercity usually, those are generally safe. There's not as many reasons for the opposing faction to be there unless they're just trying to gank low-level players. But generally, you should have a fairly safe-ish experience in those zones and crank through the levels ridiculously quickly. So if you are trying to really min-max all your buffs, you technically could have up to, if you're really min-maxing this, up to 105% Giga EXP bonus.
What the hell? 105%, and if you think about it, it's 105% plus the 80% reduction to leveling already. So you're technically leveling 185% faster in the retail game. That's freaking crazy. That's probably a record. I don't think we've ever had 185% quicker leveling than we did last week. That is a huge freaking buff.
All out in the open world,
almost 200% faster.
If you are jumping from instance to instance, which is another viable way of leveling. Like if you just
at least from 70 to 80, you're almost 200% faster.
As a tank or as a healer or even as a DPS, since it seems like even DPS queues are pretty good with everybody jumping at a time walking right now. Then you're going to be able to get a lot
already,
of XP rather quickly. So you can either do this through dungeons and group content, or if you prefer to run it solo, you can just do it through open world activities.
Yeah, we have 400% now in Legion Remix. That's true. Yeah, but if you just don't want to play through all the remix shit, or you have like a retail character, say that you want to finish out leveling, you know, you don't want to go put one in and go through remix and everything. You already have one that's maybe level 71 or something like that, and you just want to finish capping them out. This is the way to do it.
On top of it, the actual buff of the event of the Turbulent Timeway also comes with an additional bonus, a reward, with a quest, or rather an achievement called a Master Turbulent
Or yeah, if you want
Timeways
to Drakthir,
4.
right? That's another
If you
thing.
were to gain Master of the Timeway buff for 5 weeks, not in a row specifically, but as long as you get it 5 weeks during the event's time. So basically, if let's say I got Master Timeways this week, and the next, and the next, and the next 5 times in a row, you'll be able to obtain a Ta Redon's mount voucher, because there's actually 4 mounts for you to pick from with the expansion of Shadowlands joining the Turbulent Timeways. There's the Bronze Aculeon, at least I think that's how you pronounce it, a Bronze Bird for the Kyrian, there's a Corpse Fly with a Necroward Covenant, a Bronze Grey Wing with a Venthyr, as well as a Bronze Wilder Wing with a Night Fae. And you'll basically get a voucher for any one of these mounts, but after you purchase your first one, after you've gotten the achievement, the other mounts will actually become available to buy from the Time Walking vendors, but instead of costing that same currency, they'll just cost Time War badges instead, so you technically could get all 4. Or if you just want to get one, just for the achievement and the reward, you can, and save others for later once you have a bunch of Time Walking currency. But there's a pretty good chance that these are not going to be coming back until the next Turbulent Timeway, I don't think, at least, unless Blizzard changes that. So definitely worth getting these while the Turbulent Timeway is active, and since you spam in Time Walking dungeons anyway, that's a pretty good way for you to be able to get a lot of Time Warp currency. Now, Turbulent Timeways is also a great event, not only for getting your characters caught up in levels, but also catching up in gear. Gear right now, and we're within, especially with it being end of the season.
Yeah, it gives you heroic
doesn't
gear.
Really matter that much. I don't really know that many players that are going out of the way to get the mythic best of the best gear, because, you know, the season's almost over. However, this gear is going to make your leveling much, much easier come midnight. You won't have to replace a lot of your items, and your character will be...
That's true. I guess, like I was saying, there's no point to getting really gear before an expansion launches. The one thing that it'll make it easier for is your early questing, right? You're questing through. If you have very high-level heroic gear, you're probably not going to replace your gear through questing. So, I mean, you'll be geared out enough to kill mobs quicker and do stuff like that, sure. Once the first season kicks off, your gear is obsolete.
At a fairly high power level for a very long time, basically up until you hit an and levels, like the final few levels to 90 in midnight. So getting good gear
well,
right now,
a lot of trinkets and things will be like a lot of the shit will just no longer be relevant once midnight launches for sure. But yeah, having a higher item level always helps you DPS things harder in the beginning of an expansion, sure.
And getting it as upgraded as possible is also pretty much encouraged by so many players out there right now. During Turbulent Timeways, the weekly quest for the Time Walking Dungeons, the one found in Dornagal where you need to complete 5 Time Walking Dungeons, now awards you better rewards, specifically Hero Track pieces of gear from the raid of Mana Forge Omega. So you got a lot of different items that you can get from the raid in order to help your character gear up. And this can be any random item, everything that isn't like the AUTC mount, but like any of the best items off of Dimensius or Nexus King potentially, Fractalus with some of the best trinkets and even weapons that this one has available. Soul Hunter's boots, which I don't think are gonna end up working out in midnight because the cloak, I'm pretty sure, will be disabled by then. Maybe it'll be available for a short bit of time. Maybe it'll function like the Legion Legendaries did in BFA. Who knows, really? But a lot of the good items from this raid are still going to be relevant for a good bit of time while you're questing within midnight. So if you're looking to quest as quickly and efficiently as possible early on, getting geared up is going to be a good way of going about it. And the fact that is, you can just get easy hero track items just for running time walking dungeons, which you don't have like an item level requirement or anything like that. Just Q5 a week and get a free hero track piece of gear on that character, and you're good to go. What's also cool about gearing during time walking weeks until midnight is going to be a time walking week. Every single one is going to come with that quest, but also during certain weeks, specifically during expansions like Burning Crusade, Wrath of Lich King, and Cataclysm, you also have a time walking raid during those seasons, or rather during those expansions. Like Black Temple, for example, has a time walking version with a bunch of champion track pieces from all the bosses, but also you got from Wrath of Lich King, you have the raid of Ulduar, which also got a bunch of time walking items for you to be able to obtain, even a chance of Mimran's Head if you do end up doing the no light version. As well as in Cataclysm, you have Firelands. So you have 3 iconic raids from various different expansions with an opportunity for you to get champion track pieces from the bosses, but also those raids comes with additional bonus quests to get an additional random piece.
Again, you do it if you want. The gear doesn't matter. I think just hitting cap level is what would matter if you want to actually do this and participate in this event. Good morning. How are you? How are you liking the Shadowlands time walking? I haven't tried it yet. I haven't, but like, I mean, Shadowlands, we shit all over it all the time because, yeah, it had its issues. Its dungeons weren't bad, and its transmog wasn't bad. So, yeah, I'm going to jump in and try the Turbulent Timeways Shadowlands ship.
Of one of the items from the raid
it did have some good dungeons, yeah.
Track piece instead. So for those weeks in particular, you're basically getting double
Muzala. Oh my god, I remember
which
those.
Can be amazing when it comes to trying to catch up a character as quickly as possible ahead of midnight.
The dungeons were the best part of Shadowlands, and even raiding, like Castle Nathria was pretty good. I liked it. I thought it was a good raid, and now you want to ask me about the rest of the raids in Shadowlands. No, I didn't like them so much. Sepulchre, the first ones, no, and the freaking Sylvanas raid, oh my god, I hated that place. But Castle Nathria was cool.
On top of it, we also got a brand new expansion that's joining the time walking this time around as part of the Turbulent Timeway. We finally have the expansion of Shadowlands joining the time walking roster. And the very first week of Turbulent Timeway is the Shadowlands Dungeon Week. So you have access to a bunch of different instances from Shadowlands, some more fan favorite than others, I'd say, but definitely a lot of familiar ones that we've actually seen quite a decent bit recently in the War Within season, as they were appearing as seasonal dungeons. So a lot of you would find them actually quite familiar if you've been playing in this expansion. But you also get a brand new vendor with a ton of cool rewards, however, located in
some Shadowlands related
and this vendor
rewards.
sells a bunch of items for time warp currency. They're selling you 2 mounts, a bunch of weapon cosmetics, which some are really, really good. There's a bunch of Zereth Mortis and, like, you know, really futuristic looking pieces, which I'm not a big fan of. But
Yeah,
then there's some
either.
items that we've never gotten before, like Uther's Hammer, 2 versions, like the Kyrian Cleansed and the Forsworn version. There's awesome Maul looking weapons, like the big, not a glaive, but it's more like a guillotine. It looks amazing. We also got some Necromancer shoulders from the Necrolord Covenant, which look amazing. A couple of toys, bunch of back pieces, which
That's a nice one.
Shadowlands' expansion
That
was
site's
very,
nice.
very well known for, like a bunch of different back pieces for transmogs you can collect, and a big fan of those as well. There's a pet as well as some.
I got to get the Chrono Corsair mount. That's the one that I want to go buy. Like, I'm going to buy that when I log in right now. I didn't realize that the thing is already live. This was already live. So I missed it by 1 week because I went on vacation. You guys remember that? I missed it by 1 week, the buff. So I didn't get the mount, but now I can go buy it.
All rewards for you to obtain from previous
That was a good one.
time walking as well as Turbulent Timeway events, like some of the mount rewards as well, the dragon, which looks amazing, and as well as the Shale Wing from Dragonflight, I believe it was. But yeah, a bunch of different rewards for you to be able to obtain, and yet another expansion rolls into the time walking weeklies. With that being said, though, as always, I do want to thank all of you guys so much for watching and hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did enjoy it or found it informative, go ahead and give this video a like, as I would very much appreciate it. Also, be sure to join our Discord community, especially if you just want to keep up with any new happenings. Like, we got a new build for Midnight Beta, a new event, or a phase rather, for Legion Remix, with this being the final update for War Within. We also got the pre-patch for Midnight in the pre-patch event, so that'll be the best place to catch all of those things as soon as they happen. Also, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and as always, I'll see all of you guys in the next one.
Yeah, this is a great, nice video. This is the most, like I said before, this is the freaking most cracked out version that we've ever gotten. This is the most cracked out version we've ever gotten of Turbulent Timeways. Because basically what you got here is you have the 105% buff, I think he said, and then the 80% reduction that went live with this patch from level 70 to 80. Talking about like 185% buff right now to leveling from 70 to 80. That is crazy. So yeah, great time to finish leveling your alts if you don't want to do the remix stuff, or maybe you want to level something that you can't do in remix. Overall, yeah, nice event, and a nice way to kind of wrap up the expansion. Good video from Dalaran.